feel like every Tottenham fan is in mourning right now. Sonny's gone. Gutted. Heartbroken. He's my Tottenham. He's what makes Tottenham. He's what football is all about. His passion and his dedication. And so grateful to have had the last 10 years of Son being part of Tottenham. It's just not going to be the same without him.
스토리 코리아입니다. 손흥민이 LA에서 8경기 8골, 해트트릭까지 터뜨리며 미국을 들썩이게 만들고 있습니다. 그런데 10년간 그를 지켜본 영국에서는 지금 무슨 이야기가 나오고 있을까요? 해리 케인보다 더 큰 레전드를 놓쳤다. 동상을 세워야 한다는 찬사부터 의외의 평가까지 영국 주요 언론과 스포츠 관계자들의 이야기를 담았습니다. 팬들의 반응은 그 양이 너무 많아서 일부만 소개해드리고 별도 영상으로 올리겠습니다. 스카이 스포츠 영상부터 보시죠.
We're going to start though with some absolutely huge news this morning, and Tottenham captain Heung-min Son has announced that he will leave the club this summer. Son joined Spurs 10 years ago and he led the club to their first trophy in 17 years when they lifted the Europa League title in May. Son was speaking in his home country of South Korea.
Share the information that I decided to leave this club in this summer. So, and yeah, respectfully, it's a club and it's helping me to my decision. So, just wanna share this information before we start the press conference. So, it was the most difficult decision I made in my football career. So, I've been here 10 years in a beautiful club and beautiful fans and having such amazing memories. And after that, leaving this club, I think it's very, very hard to tell the teammates that sometimes I spend more time than with my family because we're traveling together, we're spending time every single day in a training ground, maybe 5-6 hours every single day. So yeah, I think we know more than what everybody thinks.
Hello, boys. Here's your ex-captain. And what can I say? I mean, the boys, you were absolutely everything to me, and you were really, really warriors. And you guys respect me so much that I felt really special every single day. It comes the end, and now it's your turn to make this football club even special and even brighter. So thank you for these amazing memories. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your everything that you done for me and for the club. So guys, I swear I love you more than anything, and I'm so grateful that you are my teammates. So wish you all the best, and we know we will be always friends. So if you need anything from this old man, let me know. I will be always for you, and love you all, and all the best.
Say thank you all of the Spurs fans that gave me so much love and felt like it was my home. So, but it was one of the toughest decisions I ever made. So, yeah, I hope the goodbye is always also in a good timing, you know. So, but I think it's the right time to make this decision. So I hope that everybody understand that my decision, and hope that everybody respect that.
So just take a look at this. He leaves the club as a true legend at Tottenham. Only 3 players have scored more goals than his 173 in all competitions, and those are 3 strikers: Harry Kane, Jimmy Greaves and Bobby Smith. Well, Son sits 5th on the list for all-time Spurs appearances. He played 454 times over his 10 seasons, overtaking Kane, Glenn Hoddle and Hugo Lloris in his most recent campaign. And as Son mentioned himself, he thinks the timing is right. After lifting the Europa League trophy back in May, he became the first captain to lead Spurs to victory since Ledley King back in 2008, and just the 4th captain in Tottenham's history to lift a European title. That was all achieved, of course, under Ange Postecoglou, but his new boss, Thomas Frank, says it is a fairy tale ending for Son, and a warning that there is more flash photography here.
A truly Spurs legend in every aspect. I think one of the best players I actually ever played in the Premier League, in my opinion, as a winger. But I like that the club has been open to it, because it's never easy to find that perfect timing. And me coming a little bit in from the side, I think it's probably the perfect timing, going out on a high. Been here 10 years, won the well-deserved trophy, be a key player for many seasons. So it's almost the perfect ending to a happy fairy tale.
So no doubt that Son goes down as a Tottenham icon. Thomas Frank confirmed that he would captain the team, probably for a final time, in their friendly against Newcastle in South Korea tomorrow afternoon. Again, there is some flash photography in this next clip.
I think it's very, very clear. I think it's no secret that Sonny will start tomorrow and he will lead the team out as a captain. So, yeah, looking forward to that in many ways. And if it's going to be the last game for Sonny, what a place to finish his Tottenham career in his home country in front of all the fans. I think that could potentially be a beautiful ending. And then, of course, I need to balance a little bit with some minutes to some of the other players. But first and foremost, I think Sonny needs the biggest respect for what he has done for the club.
Breaking news and, more importantly, broken hearts. Son Aldo, Son Perrion, Son Heung Messi, Son Avaniki, Sonny Delight, Son in a Million. Heung-min Sensational is leaving Tottenham after 10 years, and I feel like I've lost an extended family member. If I have a son and I want to name him Heung-min and my girl's got a problem with it, she may end up at LAFC too, fam. Because the way I'm feeling right now, I'm devastated. God deserves the very best. He is a Tottenham legend, fam. Even when Harry Kane left, I didn't mind. Man's got a mural. Son deserves a statue this season. He couldn't speak a word of English, and now he can speak better English than me. If it wasn't for Son, I don't think I ever would have went to South Korea, and that's one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been. Como wo Salangay. If this is the end, like Seth Rogen and James Franco, fam, I just want to say thank you, bro. This man is definitely one of the best wingers in our history. He stayed for 10 years, fam. Trophy, he lifted the trophy, fam. We ain't had a trophy in 17 years. He completed it, bruv. You get me? The man stayed loyal. That's what he did. Chris Brown told you, bruv. These hoes ain't loyal, fam. Certain man left. Son stayed, bruv. He stayed with the club and he got his trophy. And if I'm honest, he's a bigger legend for Tottenham than Harry Kane.
Hello again. As we talk in the transfer show, Heung-min Son is on his way to Los Angeles from South Korea to complete his move to LAFC. His final game for Tottenham was on Sunday, that 1-1 draw with Newcastle in a friendly in Seoul as Spurs rounded off their pre-season tour. So let's talk Heung-min Son. They've got £15 million for him, Michael. That seems like good business for the club.
Yeah, they could have potentially maybe got a bit more if he wanted to go to Saudi Arabia. But as we've said over the last few months, they wanted to happily work with Son. you know, he's got to that level of legendary status at the club. They were going to work with him on what he wanted to do. Tottenham exercised that extra year last year on the contract. Just suits all parties, I think, this time around. And he's gone out on such a high in South Korea. Obviously a tearful goodbye. But now you see the pictures there. He's ready to... I hope he got his flight, because that was an hour and a half, apparently, those signatures took. But he's had his hair cut and he's ready for LA. And obviously, like, he's obviously looking at it as well for the World Cup next year. You know, he wants to go to LA ahead of the World Cup in North America. So it's worked out for him, and he leaves on absolutely brilliant terms.
The problem is, 15 million quid, you can't replace Heung-min Son for 15 million quid. That's the problem. And so I understand the loyalty from a Spurs perspective and the fact that they want to reward a player who's been absolutely incredible for them. And he's at an age where his market value is 15 million quid. But from a Spurs perspective, that's a problem. You don't get a player of his quality for £15 million, simple as that.
And also, there's a part of the world where this guy has godlike status, and that must mean a lot of money for Tottenham, which they're no longer going to have.
Yeah, I mean... It's an interesting one because the support he has and that he's had over the years at Tottenham Hotspur has been unbelievable. You leave every press conference on a Friday and he's signing autographs and pictures for hours. He's adored, and he's not. You know, they're not just there for Son anymore. You know, there was a picture of a fan crying with James Maddison on the back. So he's brought in not just so much goals and assists and everything, but yes, he has brought in revenue. He has brought in extra fan base. So, but look. Can't keep a player till he's 70 because he's just bringing in money. You know, I think he's left at the right time. But Rob's right. You know, he's obviously. But look, I think last season you could tell maybe he had a couple of injuries, but still losing some goals and assists. So we'll see how Spurs get on without him next season.
There is a certain man who has left a certain club that Darren Ambrose supports. But where does this man go down among the Premier League? Yeah, the Spurs captain Son Heung-min has announced that he'll be leaving the club after 10 years. This summer, he scored 173 goals in 454 games for Spurs, with 127 of those in the Premier League. That is some record, by the way. It looks like the MLS is going to be his most likely destination this summer. Now, Darren, of course, you're a big Tottenham Hotspur fan. You know, firstly, how do you react to this news that Sonny's leaving?
It's extremely disappointing. Of course it is. He's a legend at the football club, and he always will be. He got his hands on the trophy last season as well. And at that point, I just felt this was going to be the moment that he says his goodbyes.
It's a great way to go out, isn't it?
It certainly is. And it's the right time, in my opinion. It's the right time to go out. I'm not saying been on the decline in the last couple of years, but he's not been as good as he has been over the previous years. So I do feel it's the right time.
Darren, over that kind of 10-year period, where for you do you think he ranks in terms of being a Premier League great?
See, it's difficult. I don't even think you can compare Premier League greats, all-time Premier League. I don't think you can do that.
Is he a Premier League legend? That word gets thrown around a lot. Is he a legend of the Premier League?
He's a legend at Tottenham. So does that make him a legend of the Premier League? Like I said, look, it's hard to say. It's hard to compare best Premier League winger in history. You can do best Premier League in this era, which is the era of the 10 years that he's been involved. Latest eras, which for me, with Son being the last 10 years, you can compare the last 10 years. And I think what I will say about Son, I think he would get in an underrated list. I think he's underrated by supporters of other clubs. I think he's extremely underrated, probably because he hasn't won a lot, and that Spurs get ridiculed for that. But it's not Son. That shouldn't define a player's career in terms of how good he was. He was at a football club that didn't win trophies. 3 goals for Spurs. He has to be in the argument for being in the top 5 in the last 10 years for sure.
Son, for me, will forever go down a legend because he gave us that night. And, you know, we've had it on here. When we saw the Toon Army win that trophy, you know what I mean? Because I'm a bit emotional and reflected and saying, I couldn't care less. I love Sonny.
Oh, that's right.
You know, that picture that come up on there with me, my dad and him, it was my dad's birthday at... when we was in the Champions League.
We was watching the video on the screen here, but obviously people listening on the radio ain't going to see that. No, that video was very good.
Yeah, if you see the video, there's a picture of me, my dad and Son. And my dad never gets it. He called my dad Sir. He was so polite. So I said, "Oh, Sonny, you can have a picture, please." It's my dad's birthday. He said, "Oh, happy birthday, sir." He was just so
Lovely,
nice.
yeah.
Fan, right? Heung-min Son. What's your thoughts on him as a Premier League player, as a professional? You know, like, let's just reflect on his 10 years at Spurs. And
Well, I mean, I can only, go by the people that I talk to in football and know, and I've never heard anyone say a bad word about him. His manner on and off the pitch has been exemplary. His performances, of course, have been of such a level that puts him at that, legendary status for Spurs. No, I can't think of anyone who could possibly have any bad feeling towards him. Well, and he's created such a great atmosphere at that football club from the Asian community as well. It's a huge following.
I was going to say that as well. He's been a bit of a trailblazer in terms of that, in terms of becoming a superstar.
Let's focus on Heung-min Son. We've not really spoken about him. We've had so many different subjects on this show. He's obviously made the move from Tottenham to LAFC. Tottenham signed him in 2015 for £22 million. Tottenham have sold him to LAFC for £20 million. That's a bit of a masterstroke, I think, from Daniel Levy. I guess the question is, have they bought him for that fee based off what he can do off the pitch in terms of selling shirts and merchandise and everything?
No, I think that was just a fortunate byproduct. I mean, the fee at the time, £20 million 10 years ago, is probably £40 million now with inflation.
But he's not worth £20 million now, is he, Son? At 33?
He is for the MLS. Must be. Because I mean, when I was in America doing this television show and going to see Inter Miami, right, and I went through all the airports. I went to New York to see the New York guys, went to see the MLS, went from there down to watch Inter Miami versus St. Louis, and you go through the airports, and all of the airports have Son
He's
images,
massive.
Whether it be luggage or things of that nature. I think that's an associated benefit. They didn't buy him from that purpose. They bought him because he was a decent footballer, and they got him at what probably was a reasonable price. And Son seems to be a sort of a very good player. You remember these wonder goals. Was it against Burnley that he scored a wonder goal from one end of the pitch to the other? And the fact that he was a very good player in a decent side when Harry Kane was in it. But I thought he was going to step up more. I thought that when Kane left, he was going to fill the vacuum.
It will be his team, and it was never.
It wasn't, was it?
No, it didn't never feel like it. Yeah, it didn't.
Do you know what I found quite interesting about the Heung-min Son chat? And you're obviously far more qualified to talk about this than I am. But I feel like, and I understand the emotion of the situation, but I feel like people have been incredibly glowing about who he is and what he represents to Tottenham. And that doesn't necessarily chime with the way I saw it. I could be wrong. But people are talking about him as like a Tottenham great. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I wouldn't even see him as like a top 10 Tottenham player.
It's interesting you say that, because I was having a conversation with my dad about this yesterday, who's literally watched us win the double in 61. And he put him in like around top, he actually said top 30.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, Dad, we responded heavily to that.
Right.
I think he's got to be around. It's not about necessarily about his qualities as a footballer, and undoubtedly they were abundant, but it's just certain moments in his career where things could have gone a different way for him, and he chose Spurs. I think that's why we hold him so close in heart. Like specifically, it wasn't even winning the Europa League, although that was significant. It was that time where Harry Kane said, "I want out of this football club," and Heung-min Son in the same summer signed a new contract. Yeah. And it was almost like there's this kind of sentence that's been going around that is, Son stayed to win a trophy with Tottenham, and Harry Kane left Spurs to win one for himself. So I think that's how we feel. Like if you're talking about the legends between the two, Son is a hands down a legend. Harry Kane.
No, yeah. Look, Heung-min Son was a very good player, and there were points where he was an excellent player, and there was no doubt that if he wanted to leave, there would have been suitors.
Yeah.
But coming back to the debate about where he ranks in the sort of pantheon of great Tottenham players, I just feel like people, even you in that sentence there, maybe it was just almost a reflex for you, but you put him above Kane.
Also had to kind of rebuild and reform his role in the absence of Harry Kane, and he did that so well, and we didn't expect it, to lead the football club, to become the kind of talisman on the pitch, and then for that to end up in the trophy, being through a transition of about 4 or 5 big sides at Spurs. He was the mainstay through it all, and there would have been opportunities for him to leave. And Spurs have been a shambles for 5 years.
Tottenham boss Harry Redknapp. Morning, Harry.
Morning, Harry.
Yes, Andy. Good morning. So, Harry, in your eyes, Son, a Tottenham legend?
Yeah, for sure. I think he'd be a legend. You know, he's had an incredible career. Looks a great guy as well. Absolutely fantastic professional. But Harry Kane, I'd have to be in Harry Kane's camp as a bigger legend. Yeah, no, he was fantastic. He's been a great player, as you say, Andy. And, when you look at him, what he seems to be, he looked like he enjoyed his football. There was never any nastiness to him. He You know, he just, the crowd loved him. He brought a lot of support to the club, to be honest. His following from Korea was amazing, the amount of...
player. Yeah, so it was a moment of individual brilliance. So, yeah, I mean, the goals that he scored, the joy that he... I mean, he's an ambassador. Just coming back to this point about legends, and it is a debate. He is a bona fide Spurs legend for what he achieved on the pitch, and also I think an element of what he was like off the pitch. You know, the smiles, and not always the sort of the best of times for Tottenham Hotspur. You know, underachieving, whatever. And he absolutely delivered. And I was reminded of that great moment. I think it was in a League Cup game. Was it against West Ham, when that kid ran on the pitch, wanting to get to at the end of the game, wanting to get to Heung-min Son, and the stewards intervened, and the kid was sort of very emotional because he wanted to be close to Heung-min Son, and Son very diplomatically, very sort of almost like kindly and tenderly almost sort of went over to the kid and gave him his shirt and just sort of comforted him in a way, because the kid was a bit distraught. Anyway, so I think as a man, as well as a footballer, as well as an entertainer, I think he's been magnificent. And also, would you say a good ambassador for the Premier League?
Oh, without a doubt. But
commercially too. South Korea
commercially massive, yeah. The Premier League will miss him from that point of view. But you talk as a club legend.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any debate that he's a club legend. He's absolutely a Tottenham Hotspur club legend. I mean, you're being the fact that Tottenham fans loved him, and you're saying if there was a sort of dip with that love, which I'm not really sure there was, is just a sign of the deep affection that has been held over 9.5 years. And I also think the way you leave a club, and he's done it in a classy way. He's done it in a flood of tears. He announced it. It wasn't sort of leaked or whatever, and it wasn't suddenly an announcement in California. He's done it.
I'm sad, but I'm also happy at the same time. It's a weird old feeling. I think we all know that it's probably the best. But we don't want it to happen, and he's just been a massively great servant to the club. I got to speak to him, one-on-one at times as well. Lucky enough to do some filming for Tottenham.
We're going to welcome back Smiv as the official rule keeper and scorekeeper. Last year you were taking part, this year you've been relegated. What's that about?
It's not a relegation. Hey, Sonny, come on, man. I got some shirts signed. I got like this 1 of 5 card signed as well from Sonny. It's actually his signature. He's held that card and it's got some value. And I was thinking of selling it and trying to do something with it, but I'm keeping that forever now. It's just, he was just such a gentleman, a really nice guy. There was no ego. He was really interested in what I was doing as well. It's very rare that you come across people like that. So, Sonny, thank you for all the memories and all the best in the future as well. Nice one.
AFC coming along throughout the summer, so I think most of us knew this was going to happen. It still doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, because this guy, I think, is one of the biggest legends of the club. Like what he's done for us over 10 years is absolutely insane. And weirdly enough, I don't know why, this hurts a little bit more than the Harry Kane one, which you wouldn't really normally expect, because, Harry Kane, he was sort of, grew up playing for Spurs, this, that and the other. But the way Harry Kane left just felt a little bit abrupt, like so close to the start of the season. Whereas this Sonny one, he's like capped it off with the Europa League win as the captain. I think it just means so much more for like what he was able to do for the club.
What can I say about Sonny? The biggest legend in my Spurs supporting lifetime. His arc has been so interesting because he obviously came as a really talented young winger who was sort of very dribble heavy. Always had a great strike on him off both feet, but when he first arrived, he was more of that player to get to the byline out wide. Was really good 1v1 threat, and then as he evolved, he sort of became more of a absolute efficient finisher. You just back him every time he's in front of goal. And I always said this to my friends, if my life depended on one player in the Premier League to have a one-on-one chance, and if they scored, they saved my life, I would always put Son there, because he was just cash money in front of goal. And then towards the end of his sort of Spurs career, he kind of got into that more creative bag where he was assisting a lot more, creating with the same kind of ball striking, but in a more crossing sense. So his evolution of a player has been really interesting, but also his evolution as a character. He came as this really lovable young guy who everyone loved, saw as like a little kind of brother. And he's always been the most liked player, it seems, in the squad, but also amongst the fan base. It's so rare that you get a player who's that good, but also that famous, to be so down to earth and humble. And the main thing I can say about Sonny away from the pitch is just he makes you proud to be a Spurs fan. He's exactly the kind of player I want to be representing the club. He seems like someone who would put others before him, a real team player, and I wish him all the best, and I can't wait for him to come back to the lane.
It's all over. The finale today, being tossed in the air, the emotion, crying at the end. But listen, he finished on a high, and I think that's the best way for Sonny to go out today. We'll miss all the Koreans. Hopefully they'll still be coming to Tottenham. But it's time now for Sonny to sail into the sunset. Thanks for the memories, Son.
Bro, what's wrong, man? What's wrong? He's actually leaving, bro. Son's leaving. Our team's crumbling apart. First the manager, now Son, bro. And it all started with Harry Kane. Like, we won the Europa League, but at what cost, bro?
I feel like you're overreacting.
I'm not overreacting right now, bro. I'm gonna have to deal with that pigeon Richarlison, bro. With his weird celebration, bro. Oh my days, it's gonna be a nightmare, bro. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This might be the lowest we've ever been, bro.
You get another better.
We're not getting anyone better, bro. I feel like we're probably gonna be fighting relegation.
Hi, Crackers here with a few words on the legend that is Sonny. What a 10 years. What a 10 years. Unbelievable servant for the club. Firstly and foremostly, as a brilliant, great footballer, not only a Tottenham legend now, but a Premier League legend. So wish him all the very best for his future, and I'm sure at some stage he'll be back to see us all. And well, he is always welcome back at the lane, isn't he? Brilliant stuff. Well done, Sonny, and thank you.
영국 팬들의 이야기까지 들어봤습니다. 어떠셨나요? 그럼 또 다른 해외 영상으로 다시 인사드리겠습니다. 기쁜 나날 되십시오.
Ten years you wore the lily white with pride. From Seoul to North London, what a brilliant ride. Every goal you scored made the faithful sing. You became our Asian footballing king.
Thank you, Sonny,
for the memories
you lit up our darkest nights.
Well done, Captain.
You're a legend, mate. Wish you all the best in your new life. That Puskas winner running through the mall. The Europa triumphs, you gave us it all. Now you're moving on to the city of dreams, but you'll always be part of our Spurs family. Thank you, Sonny. Well done, Captain. You're a legend, mate. Wish you all the best in your new life. From White Hart Lane to LA's bright lights, you'll carry our love through those starry nights. Raise your scarves, sing his name tonight. From so night. 10 seasons of magic, every golden player we have found. Here's to you.